obviously, Sixers fans, they're very upset with the way this offseason has gone. A lot of Sixers fans are kind of done with Daryl Morey, starting to call him overrated. It's kind of all hype since we've gotten him. Just try to regroup the old Houston Rockets team, and he just hasn't really done much with his teams. Essentially, what the everyone's saying about him right now on Sixers fans. But I want to ask you guys, how valid are those concerns that Morey really doesn't have a plan with us right now? And also on another part of that, when Embiid had the whole thing about winning elsewhere with Maverick Carter, a lot of Sixers fans said that Embiid deserves more more credit for the failures the Sixers have had over the last few years. So I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think about the concerns that people have with Daryl Morey, and how valid are those concerns with Daryl Morey?
I think they're valid. I mean, if you're really dialed into what the Sixers are doing, you can look at it from a standpoint of him coming in and Elton Brand still being there, and him coming in and being elevated over him and being the prime decision maker. You can look and say, well, what have we done to improve? We're doing the same thing we were doing before he showed up, basically. Doing well, can't get past second round. Which goes into the common denominator of Joel. He's been there. I believe it's more his body than his talent. At the end of the season, he's more times than not, he hasn't been healthy. So sooner or later, that's just going to be who you are. Because there's been guys that's not been healthy and still won. Giannis wasn't healthy and got injured against Atlanta and still came back and won the championship. So yeah, I think it's valid with Morey based on the expectations. I mean, they were high, but they were there. And Joel, yeah, that's valid. He's been there and he's been injured, but you still have opportunities to make it happen. And I think this year was more of a sign than anything. 3-2 lead. Game at home. Find a way.
Yeah.
I know everybody isn't LeBron James, but I'm just saying that everybody was piling on LB when they were in Miami and Boston went up 3-2 and they went back to Boston and he turned in one of the most incredible game sixes you ever see. They go and win game 7. Now, I'm sure it's games that LeBron didn't win in that situation. But he's also taken this team to finals. He's also won championships. And that's where it stops with Joel. Like, he's never been to the conference finals. And had opportunities, had leads late in series, and couldn't get it done. So I don't think he needs to get all of the blame, but I wouldn't have a problem with him sharing more of the blame.
Yeah.
And I believe that should come from him, not necessarily from us. And I'm not sure if he said it. He might have even said that, but I'm saying he should be like, hey, these are on me. The MVP, right? We all said he was MVP.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't want him to just be MVP and just to get the award. We want him to be MVP and, show us he the MVP and show us why he the MVP. Making it happen.
So I think when reading a lot of Sixer fans online, I feel like Morey gets grouped in with previous Sixer decisions that happened before he was even here. He's not responsible for Butler. He's not responsible for Tobias. He didn't hire – I think Doc was hired right before he got here. He didn't sign Horford. He was there when they drafted Maxey. He got rid of Morey. He got rid of Horford's contract. He acquired Seth. He acquired Melton. He was able to get out of the disgruntled Ben Simmons situation by trading him for Harden, which seemed like a really good deal at the time. He's also blamed for not acquiring Halliburton, even though I think Jake Fisher just came out and said he never heard Halliburton was on the table for Ben Simmons. So I think a lot of that's fiction. I think he gets blamed for too much. And I think he put together our best team since the Butler team. I think last year was a really good shot. We had a game 6 and 7 to beat Boston, and we didn't do it.
So he didn't do anything. You keep saying all the things that he didn't do, but then what did he do?
Well, he traded a guy who said he was never going to play for Philly again for James Harden. That was a pretty good deal, and gave us our best roster in 4 years. I mean, that was our best shot to win since the Butler year right there. That Kawhi bounce. Last year's team was good. It was really, really good. We were the best team in basketball from like December on, record-wise.
So you don't think anybody before him could have made a deal?
No, maybe, but maybe not. But he is the one who did it, right? I mean, I don't think that, because Harden.
I'm just saying, like, he is the one that made the Harden deal, which means he is the one that has us in the situation with Harden now.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
Okay.
But a lot of people, I think, would also be hating on him right now for blindly paying Harden whatever Harden wants. He would still be getting a lot of criticism right now, whether he paid him or not. It was a no-win.
Just paid him the 2 years when he was a free agent. Should have just paid him the max those 2 years. Then he'll be free.
Yeah, maybe Harden wanted the 1-1.
Instead of giving him a lower salary, then don't want to give him more afterwards.
Yeah,
should have just paid him then.
Yeah.
Or paid him the 3 years, so this year could be his last year.
Yeah. You also can't blame him for our best players not playing the way they should in Game 6 or Game 7. I think Embiid does deserve.
Why can't you?
A GM for how the players play in Game 7?
Yeah.
What do you want me? What do you want me? What do you want me to do? You want to post up for Embiid?
You put the players out there. If they don't perform, like this, you can't just get a player. You can't just only blame the players when they lose and get a GM credit when they win.
But he's the MVP. We already knew that. He's already a great player.
I understand that, but if you ain't gonna give him credit for them losing, you don't give him credit for when they win.
I know, but it's not like the team wasn't a problem. The team was the best team in basketball for 4 months. They just didn't come through, and it mattered. It happens. I went through. So I went through all.
So that's on the team, but that's also on the coach, and that's also on the GM. The GM put the team together. The coach coaches them, and the players play. It's together.
I went through all of Embiid's Game 6s and 7s over his career. Pre-Morey, during Morey, we post-Morey too, eventually. 23 points per game, off 41% shooting, 2 assists per game, and almost 5 turnovers a game. He almost has 3 turnovers for every assist he gets. That's not Morey's fault. A guy who doesn't know how to dribble all of a sudden in game clinchers, in Game 7s, it's not his fault. It's injury. It's a lot of things.
So a guy that scores 33 points in the season and it gets MVP has nothing to do with Morey. Is that what you're saying?
Nah, yeah, I don't give Morey credit for Embiid being the player he is at this point.
Well, I mean, in order for Joel to have success, is people around him.
I think him getting Harden was a big part of this season. Yeah, I think Harden unlocked a bit of making it easier for Joel to score more. Yeah, I think it was his most efficient, easiest scoring season in his career. It was. I think Harden has a lot to do with that. You agree with that,
right?
He
had the number 1 seed and the better record without James.
Yeah. Yeah. And B had a better season, though, overall.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's blame to go around, essentially. I just think it's too much one way.
You can't just pinpoint 1 or 2 guys. But you like the old saying goes, the guy gets more attention because he's the better player. Mm-hmm. Like the guy gets more shots and touches because he's the better player. The quarterback gets more credit. Quarterback gets more blame.
Yep.
Best player in the NBA, when your team gets more credit, should get more blame.
Yep.
Sometimes that's what's wrong with the guy getting all the hype, and then when they lose, they blame all the other little guys on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And for a little moment there, before now that Doc's gone, now everyone's kind of shifting their focus to Morey. At first, remember, the scapegoat to everything was Doc. Doc needs to go. Doc needs to go. Now Doc's gone. Now everyone's just on Morey now.
Now it's not Doc. You can't blame Doc anymore. And we haven't seen Nurse, so we don't know. They don't know how to blame him yet.
Yeah. Hey, he makes a lot of in-game adjustments, though. So I mean, everyone's going to be.
He tries those things.
He does different things. He does new things.
Those new things. So maybe something's going to happen. New things, boy, out there on the court.
Yeah, he really gets on his players too. So that'll be good too. No coach has ever done that before.